Alright guys, you saw the title and thumbnails video. In this video, which is obviously a video about chess, I'm going to be showing you guys a game that I found that literally has an en passant checkmate. I'm not joking, there's probably less than 1 million in all of the recorded history of chess that, like, games that have an en passant checkmate, but this one actually does. And to be honest, I don't know how the game paired somebody with 700 elo, someone with 100 elo, but okay, we're not going to question that. If you don't believe me, you can search the game, if you think this game isn't real. But anyways guys, before I start this video, if you enjoyed this, please drop a like and sub as I would really help the channel a ton. If you really enjoyed this video, you can also drop super thanks. Without further ado, let's just begin. So basically guys, the game starts off normally. White plays pawn to e4, which you know is a book move, and thankfully somebody already used the game review on this game, so we actually have a list of the ranking of all the moves. Obviously pawn to e5 is played, which is also a book move, and then we immediately have queen to h5. The reason this is not a good move is because 9 out of 10 times you're not going to get anything out of this. Like, if you're playing in a range of below 1000 elo, maybe you'll get something out of this, but generally the queen is just going to get attacked, and then black will just develop. Like, what I mean is this. Don't play a move like this, because then the queen can just go over here and gives a check to the king, gets the rook. What you should instead do is defend the pawn, then maybe white will develop their knight, and then you can bring out the knight and attack the queen immediately. And what happens is that we have knight to c6, which is apparently the best move, apparently, not pushing to d6. Okay, cool. And what happens is that we have knight to f3, which is apparently an inaccuracy according to the game, even though it actually puts pressure on the pawn, but okay, we won't question that. Then we have knight to f6, obviously just kicking out the queen immediately. And somehow we have knight takes on e5, which is a blunder for very obvious reasons, because it just loses the queen in one move. And yes, black actually does capture, thankfully. Well, I mean, they are 700 elo, so what are you expecting? Of course, they're not going to miss a free queen. And we have knight captures, which is obviously the best move because, you know, it attacks the queen and it trades the knights. I mean, they don't really have any other move to play. We have takes on c6 by the d-pawn. And then white pushes on d4, obviously trying to take the center. Even though I think this pawn is actually free, so yeah, queen should probably take. And yeah, the queen does take immediately. Then the bishop is developed, so far, like, the game besides the queen move, it's normal, I guess. Then we have the knight going back to f6. Then the bishop gets developed, obviously attacking the queen, when in reality the queen can just go over here, then, yeah, white is just going to lose the rook guaranteed. And yes, that's exactly what happens. The king moves, I have no idea what this move accomplishes, but okay. And the queen just takes on a1 because now the rook is totally gone. The knight is developed to c3, which is somehow a good move. I have no idea how this isn't a blunder. And the rook is captured. So in 10 moves, black is winning by 20 points of material, and there's probably like mate in 10. Probably. I mean, I don't have the evaluation bar because when I tried to open it with like all the like moves by the computer, what happens is that the video almost crashed. So yeah, I can't actually put the evaluation bar. What we have is pawn to g4, which just loses a pawn in one move. Okay. But instead we have bishop takes. I thought they were going to go knight takes, but never mind, that's fine. Then we have pawn to e5. Okay, the knight moves. Then we have a trade of knights. Then the bishop is developed, obviously trying to attack the king, although really you can just push the pawn immediately. And that is what happens. I mean, I don't know how this isn't the best move, but okay. The pawn pushes, and somehow it's a good move, even though, yeah, this is what happens, obviously. And now let's just go to the next line of moves. Next, we have pawn takes on d5. I mean, this is an okay move, but like, I mean, basically the position is totally dead lost if I'm being honest, but still. The queen takes with check, then the king moves, then the bishop, I'm assuming, tries to defend this pawn. That's probably what happened. The rook gives a check, obviously trying to get the king away from the bishop. And the king goes to d3, obviously still trying to defend the bishop. Queen gives a check on e4. Now the king is literally forced to move, it's the only move. And the queen captures the bishop. And by the way, guys, I will tell you something. Believe it or not, I did see the evaluation bar before I made this video. Fun fact, it's actually mate in 1. Many ways, it's mate in 1. Like, queen over here, mate in 1. Rook here, mate in 1. Probably, this is probably something like mate in 2, the other bishop getting involved. But that doesn't happen. Instead, we have the bishop just being developed, which is okay. Because if black did just checkmate white immediately, then we wouldn't really have a video. But obviously, this is an en passant checkmate, which is why you probably clicked this video. Then we have pawn to h4. I have no idea what this accomplishes. I mean, maybe trying to distract the queen. Maybe that's why it's considered a good move, even though, well, this is still just mate in 1. Well, no, it's not mate in 1 because, well, yeah, no, you can't capture your own pawn. Yeah, it's still mate in 1, queen to d1, or rook to c1. It's still mate in 1, but okay. The bishop captures, the king moves, and now, like, it's very obvious this is mate in 1. Like, this. But that doesn't happen. Well, no, not this. That doesn't happen. Instead, the queen goes over here, because our opponent is actually trying to get an en passant checkmate. Probably. That's why they didn't checkmate immediately, I'm assuming. So the king moves, the rook arrives, the pawn is pushed, and still, black doesn't give the checkmate. The pawn is pushed, the king moves, the pawn captures, and another pawn is pushed, white captures, pawn is moved to g4, pawn is moved to b6, black gives a check, the king is forced to move, pawn to a6, now it's got the next line of moves, and now the king is kind of just moving because, well, it's kind of the only moves that can be made. The queen arrives, probably like planning the checkmate or planning to like promote a pawn, even though, well, this is literally just mate in 1, but okay. The king has to move, only legal move. Rook moves. King goes over here, only legal move. The rook goes over there, and now this is literally going to be checkmate. Or this. Or this. Even this is very close to checkmate, because then you could just play something like this, probably. Well, no, they would then go, like, over here, but still, you probably just, like, trap them somehow. King has to move, pawn to a5, king has to move, and now it's just a bunch of king moves, literally. And the queen gives a check, which is considered a miss because there's literally mate in 1, okay? The king has to move, literally, like, all of these moves are just forced. This might actually be the most forced moves in the chess game ever. Really, this could be. And now the queen moves, the king moves, and it's still considered multiple, like, missed wins, like the miss, because, well, yeah, it's still mate in 1. The queen gives a check, king has to move, queen gives another check, bishop just moves, I don't know what this achieves, but okay. King moves, bishop gives a check, and now, guys, the only legal move in this position is pawn to f4. And then black won by checkmate, by en passant. Literally. What did we just watch? This game was already crazy enough to be in a video, but it literally has an en passant checkmate. And black won with less than 5 seconds on their clock left. By the way, guys, if you don't believe me that this game is real, you can just search this game on like the chess website. Again, I don't know how the game decided to put somebody with 700 elo with somebody 150 elo. I don't know how that happened, but okay. So, like, what did we just watch? Like, let's just go back. Normal opening. A queen blundered in 4 moves. Trades. A few strategies. Losing both rooks in 3 moves. And then, literally, just losing everything in the next, like, 10 moves. And then the king, like white's king specifically, getting trapped, and for some reason checkmate never occurring. I have no idea why. And then just a bunch of forced moves. And eventually, finally, we had checkmate. By en passant. This is probably the craziest game I've ever seen. Like, this might actually be more insane than the game that I reviewed previously of 100 elo. What even was this game? But yeah, guys, that's the whole video. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and a sub, as that would really help the channel a ton. If you really enjoyed this video, you can also drop super thanks, comment down below if you know any other crazy chess games that you would like me to review, and I'll see you guys in the next video.